Hello guys, this is the Black House here, bringing you a general discussion about Ozo. And we're going to be talking about what type of character is Ozo, what can he do, what are his abilities and how they work, what compositions are great for Ozo, and my word of advice and a personal opinion. So first, what type of character is Ozo? Well, Ozo is a melee diving AoE character. Yeah. What he can actually do is that he can actually dive into battle, putting himself into a close quarter combat position, and also being able to do AoE damage with his ability with his kit. So what are his abilities? Well, he has three abilities, right? Like all characters have. They always have three. And first, his ability is called the Three-Ring Circus. The second is the Acrobounce, which is, I think, one of the most hardest abilities that really requires skills to actually land. And a lot of people been like been whining, complaining a lot about how the acrobounces are, how difficult they are to land, because it really requires a lot of skill. But third, we have his ultimate, that which is the Bangarang. So briefly talking about each one of them, let's start with the first one, the Three-Ring Circus. The Three-Ring Circus is an ability that you can use 3 times in a row, but with this ability, there's a little perk within the ability itself. We're gonna talk about the perk, but let's talk about the animation of the 3 hits. Yes, there are 3 hits. Every time when you use the ability, it's a different hit and a different animation. The first animation, or the first attack, actually is that Ozo launches himself forward or towards the target, but he also deals damage to any enemy in his path. The second is that he dashes toward his target, and the third is that he swings around his ring, hitting anybody within his range. So actually his A ability is an AoE damage based ability, but the perk within this ability itself, it's really awesome. And what it does, that any enemy that's hit by any of these attacks, any of these 3 different attacks from his A ability, also gets a heal. But not only that, there's a little extra to it. Also, in itself, he has a perk, and his perk is the Kearney perk. What does the Kearney perk does? Well, the thing is that Ozo always receive a 15 to 30% of additional health, fortified health, and barrier from any type of source. Yeah, so that means that actually from this A attack, he can actually get a 15 to 30% of additional heal every time he hits an enemy, or any enemies that were hit from any of these 3 different attacks, right? But going back to actually to the perk, before I go further into the other 2 abilities, the perk itself, and I want to make this really clear, Ozo, he benefits a lot from the following things: from potions, from items that gives him heal, from lifesteal items. But not only that, he also gets a lot of benefit from anything that gives him fortified health and barriers like Crucible, Phantom Renewal, Reflex Blocks, Aegis. But the best part, if you have an ally such as Lyra and Adagio, their heal, like Passaggio and Adagio heal, you receive a 15 to 30% extra from it. So this current perk is actually one of the strongest, well, I won't say really one of the strongest perk from other characters, but it really is a good beneficial perk that really fits very well with the kit that Ozo has. So going now into the other 2 ability, the Acrobounce. The Acrobounce, like I was saying, is one of the, well, it's really hard, a hard thing to actually land. The Acrobounces really require a lot of skill, a lot of practice, but mostly a lot of patience, because there's never been a moment that I never found myself angry, pissed off, because I'm always like whining and complaining like, hey, why I didn't land that second Acrobounce when I swear I tapped on the enemy. And it's a constant thing. Every time when you're gonna try to land that second or third bounce, sometimes it's really hard, and you always get mad because you could actually swear, and you're like 100% sure that you tapped on the enemy, but then you're hell, he did not echo bounce to the other enemies that tapped on. Well, really, it's a skill shot. Well, it's not a skill shot like, for example, like a glimmer shot from Castro, but it is a skill. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of sick. It is a kind of a skill ability. It requires patience and it really requires precision. You gotta be really accurate when you tap, and the time lapse or the time frame that you have to tap on the enemies is really, really short. And there's a good reason why it's short, because if they will make it like, if you have a huge time frame to tap between enemies to enemies just to echo bounce, really you will see a lot of people playing a lot more with Ozo, because his echo bounce is a huge damaging ability. Yes, the echo actually is an AoE ability. Every time when you bounce on top of an enemy, it slows the enemy down for 60%. But not only that, plus damaging the enemy that he bounces on, it also does damage to those around that enemy, minions or other enemies. But the best part is that if you manage to get to 2 or 3 bounces, you get a speed boost. Yeah, a move speed. But the best part, and this is very important, but I say, like, I gotta repeat myself like a bunch of times. This is the most important thing that you always need to try to accomplish, and you should practice a lot and put your effort into managing to get that third echo bounce. And why? Because that third echo bounce is going to do an increased damage, but not only that, there's an extra to it. It also receives an extra damage per prior bounces. So yes, those other 2 bounces that you did to the other 2 enemies on the third enemy is gonna also add up to him. And the best part is an AoE damage ability. So not only you go burst the third enemy really down, almost probably putting him in a critical state or even killing him, but you're also gonna do a lot of damage to those around him. And the best part of the echo bounce, the echo bounce is an ability that you could actually use to pursue down the enemy. You can actually hunt them down. For example, if you're echo bouncing, right, you're in a team fight, you bounce from enemy to enemy, and you did a lot of AoE damage there, right? It's really most likely that the enemy is gonna try to find a way how to escape from you and escape from the team fight, because they don't want to get kind of common sense. That's what actually all the time always happens. And when the enemy is trying to run away, you have a chance to actually echo bounce and hop from enemy to enemy before they actually manage to run away to safety. Yes, if they're actually running away, you could actually bounce your way towards the further last enemy, kill that last enemy, and go back to the other 2 that, if they're not dead but in a critical state, you can actually finish off. And remember, every time you bounce to them, you also slow them down for 60%, giving a chance to your allies also to reach to those targets that are slowed by your echo bounce and finish them off. So yeah, the echo bounce actually is a good item and ability to actually use to get those aces, to make a secure ace. Now, going to the ultimate, his ultimate, it's a really pretty good ultimate, and you can use it a lot for a lot of situations. But let's go to the description. Okay, what does the Vainglory does? He actually just lunges towards the target, right? He has a long range actually to choose where the targets are. He has a huge to launch towards. And when you target down a person, what happens is that you have a time frame, a 1 second time frame, and if Ozo reaches to that target, that 1 second time frame, he actually stuns the target for 0.8 seconds. Not only that, he actually throws the target back of him. He throws them back of him, another precision, and stuns them. And this is actually a really good ultimate, because not only that, when he's lunging towards his target, any enemy that is in his path, and that's really in his way and his path towards the target, gets knocked aside and also receive a reduced damage. So in other words, use this to also do aces, because you know when the enemy's in a critical state, what they always do is that they run away. So if they're running away, and if you see that they're doing the mistake that they're actually running in a straight path, they're actually finding like an Indian line, you could actually just launch toward yourself to the furthest enemy, the one that's in front of the line, and knock all those of the other two enemies that's in the back of the side, and also doing reduced damage. That's probably and more likely killing them, and also killing the your target and stunning him. So yeah, it's actually the Bangarang is a good ultimate, and it also works well for securing down those aces. So now, what compositions are great for Ozo? Well, knowing that Ozo is based around, and I have to like really make this really clear. His perk, 15-30% health, like additional health, additional barrier, additional fortified health. Hello, he works well with Adagio. He works very well with Arden and with Lyra. Why? Okay, just imagine. Let's put this scenario here. Like, just imagine this. You have an Adagio in your team. You're in a team fight. You're bouncing, acro bouncing here, acro bouncing over there, using your 3-ring circus, and what's that? There's Adagio buffing you up. He's healing you up. Are crazy because of that buff. Not only that, the Arcane Fire effect on the enemy, because also Adagio's actually healing you all the time, constantly. And that buff, you know what's happening. There's a lot of burst damage going on. Your damage is actually increased thanks to that buff. And his heal, Adagio heal, you're receiving a additional 15-30% from it. So it's like Adagio is turning you into an undying cruel or rain. And remember, if you're using your 3-ring circus, like I said before, and if just in case if I did not say it, because hey, I do kind of forget things. I'm human. We'll probably just to like repeat it again. Remember, his 3-ring circus, what does it does? He receives a heal for any enemy that is hit by that ability. Yeah, he gets healed. Remember the perk, the 15-30%. I just want you to always work that around your mind, right? Wrap that idea in your mind. The 15-30% of additional health. Hello, that is right there. So yeah, it's like Ozo is a strong character, but not only that. Like now, let's go to Lyra. The composition with Lyra. With Lyra, she's gonna help you a lot to actually be more precise when you're doing your acro bounce. And how she's gonna do that? Okay, just the other enemies are bunched up at one specific point, and you know what Lyra does? Okay, she bulwarks right there. Now the other enemies are trapped inside the bulwark, and you know, just in case for young people that just don't know, the bulwark slows down the enemies, and enemies cannot dash out of the bulwark. So they are practically kind of trapped inside of the bulwark. And what happened? Being the bulwark a little tight space, it helps you in a more beneficial spot, and it gives you a good, precise opportunity to land your acro bounces. And that's a good thing. Not only you can also use your Bangarang inside it and be more precise, hitting everybody, knocking all the enemies aside and stunning the target. And what's more better, if you actually manage to Bangarang in the right angle, you might actually, like, your target, not only you're gonna stun them, but you might also throw them into the bulwark wall, doing an additional damage because of the bulwark. So just wrap that around your mind, all the possibilities that you have when working around with Lyra. But the best part, remember the sigil that everybody kind of hates and it's just kind of too OP. Well, yeah, if he drops a single right in the center or where you're fighting inside the bulwark, again, like with a Dajo, she's turning you to an undying hero or Reims. It's just like it's hard or almost impossible to kill you because if you're smart enough, you're gonna use your three-ring circus also because you want the additional health from all the hits that you're getting from that three-ring circus. Just wrap that around again in your mind. 15-30%. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's a lot. The possibilities are endless. Now with Arden. Well, you're not gonna. You know that 15-30%. Yeah, I kind of repeating myself. Hey, I just want to sink it really into your brain, into your mind. That when Arden Vanguards, what happens? 15. Yeah, you get an extra from it. That barrier is gonna be like super strong every time when he vanguards you. But the best part, again, when Arden drops the gauntlet, he just drops the beat. Every time he drops the gauntlet, what happens that he also, like Lyra, he gives you a perfect opportunity to land. And sorry again for the coughing. It gives you a good opportunity, a good position to land your acrobats and for your Bangarang. Because what happened? Again, the enemies are very close to each other. They're pinned down into one position. There's a crowd control going on, and they give you a nice spot to just land those acro bounces more efficiently and more precisely. And like with Lyra Bulwark, if you actually manage to do your Bangarang in the right angle, you can actually not only stun them, but you're stunned, but you can also throw them into the wall and do a double stun and a double damage because of an Arden, sorry, the Gauntlet wall. And yes, no, yes, if Arden is CP, wow, that wall is going to do a lot of damage. Just saying, you know, just throwing the D out there, you know, something that you could work around. And a thing that I forgot to mention, you know that Dajo, his ultimate. Okay, there's a thing to it. There's a little trick that you can also do. Like the same thing that you're doing with the bulwark wall and the gauntlet wall. The same thing you could do with a Dajo's ultimate. If the enemies arcane fire effect and they're trying to run away from a Dajo's ultimate, what do? You Bangarang into the your preferred target that you really want to eliminate them. And you throw them back inside into Adaya's ultimate, and what happens that you stun them, Adaya stun them, the burst damage, and it was then the enemy is gone, it's evaporated. Yeah, guys, those are the things that you can actually do. Those are one of the compositions. There might be other compositions right now that I just don't know or haven't seen yet or never thought about it. Just in case if there are other compositions that you know that works well, but also, hey, write it down in the comment section. I like to call it actually the hating section because a lot of people like to just write, you know, dumb stuff there. But just add it to the comment section. Share your tips also with the other people that want to learn how to use also. So, it's like, not Mao, look, what's wrong with you? Now, my word of advice, my personal opinion is that, hey, with Ozo, you're down and practice a lot with him. With thanks to this like 1.20 update, that's been a great update. Like I really say, like the interface, everything is really good. Okay, talking about Ozo, what you want to do is that really you want to use those practice modes. Actually, you want to start those like bot fights, and those bot fights, it gives you a good opportunity to practice a lot your acro bounces, where affecting your rank or losing casual. You know, you can actually do a no boss all by yourself, but with bots, and you could practice all the time that you want those acro bounces. And it's very important that you practice it a lot. You could do even solo. Just do a solo practice. That's just you all by yourself in the map with just the lane minions, enemy minions, and all the minions in the jungle. practice those acro bounces, because those acro bounces are, it's not art, it's ability that actually makes a huge difference in team fights, because not only it helps to burst down the enemies really quickly, but it also could save your life, because if you're in a dangerous, like a really dangerous spot, a dangerous moment, like you know that you're gonna get killed, what you could do is just bounce your way out to safety. So you can bounce in, bounce out. So yeah, just practice those things. And when you're gonna like actually build Ozo, you want to build them like having in mind his perk. You know, it's the 15-30% additional health barrier, 4 to 5, whatever. Yes, you want to work around it. You want to build around that. It's very important that you do that. Because, hey, just saying and just sharing a little idea with you guys. Lifesteal, you know, Serpent Mask, Aftershock, Eve of Harvest, I think if I'm not wrong, they all have a 10% of lifesteal. I'm talking about the status, like the status, the base state. I always say status instead of starting again. Oh my god, Spanish to English transition is so weird. But yeah, the base status. Again, okay, the base status. Now I said it right. From all these items, it's it's 10%. They all have a 10% of lifesteal. And status. It's just a base status. Sorry guys, it's really hard for me kind of like transition from the Spanish to English. I am half Latin, half American, so you gotta deal with it. So the thing is that just that 10% of lifesteal, if you add that 15 to 30%, you're actually turning that lifesteal to a 25 to 40% probably. If I'm not wrong, if I'm just wrong with or assumption, hey, just write it down in the comment and just correct me, because I don't want to be sharing an idea or advice that actually is not true and it's actually wrong. But I do want to share something that can actually be very beneficial. Again, very beneficial for you guys. So yeah, guys, that's my personal advice. And always try those compositions that I said. You know, when you're gonna use Ozo, you always have to have this in mind. Build Ozo and play Ozo in favor in your team. You know, you want to play for your team. You don't want to play for yourself. With Ozo, you can also snowball early game, because Ozo early game he's really strong. Ozo is one of the characters that you could like snowball like crazy early game, but you gotta do it really carefully. Also, you don't be too cocky and too confident, because you know, just being too confident, too cocky, you will get punished. That is a huge mistake. But you can snowball. I'm just saying, or Arden with Ozo early game, Lyra Ozo early game, Adagio Ozo early game. You know the possibilities. You know those early game team fights, you're gonna make a huge difference. So yeah guys, that's all my word of advice. That's all I have to say about this by Ozo. And if you guys like and enjoy this video, and you saw that this video was actually beneficial for you and helped you out a lot to actually understand more who is Ozo, how to use them, and give you more of a accurate idea of Ozo, well, hey, just like, share, and subscribe if you want more. And I'll just leave you with the rest of the footage. Well, actually, it's just ending already. Yeah, it's actually is ending. Okay, guys. Well, take care and keep yourself cool, man. Chill.